So far coming out, LG Evil, they're already hovering over that 2-2-2. Jake going onto that Soldier 76, which we've seen him do more and more of.
Yeah, Soldier. I mean, Soldier is perfect on Nimbani just for the fact that you can play from the high ground, you can play from distance, and you're forcing the enemy team to commit to jump onto you. You're very fast, so you can obviously run away. If you have a Vassar to protect you, then it's very hard to finish him off. Or if you have what they're currently doing is keep your entire team off of him or onto him. It means if you're going to dive in, you're diving in with 3, but hey, we got 6 there to stop you. So just a simple numbers game, you're going to be overpowered.
Yeah, here's the thing. A lot of teams used to stay spread out, right, on that initial defense because teams were playing a lot of Ana, but now with the prevalence of Zenyatta, they don't really have to worry about that. They can clump up and they can peel for their squishies. Now they are pushing in Oni God with that Soldier 76. He's slowly making his way up onto the high ground. There's no one there quite to contest him, but they do have that mobility on the side of LG Evil to do so.
I don't think they're going to contest him though, because there's going to be so much pressure coming in for Toronto on the forefront. You can see Jake immediately drops down to the backhand side as Jaro's just trying to deal with them, but he just can't pick up that 1v1 kill. And now Toronto have to back away, but they're just backing away to their own deaths. There's 3 quick kills coming through.
Yeah, I liked LG Evil's approach to that. When the dive came out onto them, Jake just immediately booked it out of there. He was already on the low ground, and that's one of the things that we saw, particularly I believe it was like when Rogue was playing Numbani. When they make that jump up there as a coordinated unit, you have to just disengage, fall back, and just give up some ground and try to wait for the offense to actually just spread out a little bit too much.
The thing is, if you're the offense too, and you do dislodge them from that high ground position, then why not just hold it? You don't really need to chase, you know, you can just heal back up, you have them out position, you have them spread out as well, you know, split between the team, so you have the opportunity to easily pick up those kills, get that man advantage. But here we go, jump comes in yet again, Jake immediately jumps back, and Jarrah trying to finish him off, but Jake just runs away yet again.
Yeah, Super was able to get that kill onto Snow, and once again, in that last engagement, it was Jarrah and Snow that went down first too. So this is very telling of how LG Evil is approaching this, right? Just take out those 2 and then win the team fight from there.
Yeah, so they're playing a dive comp, but a passive dive comp, but actually a dive comp that runs away instead of running into the team. So they're letting Toronto get the engagements they want, but they're just outplaying them at that rate. So I would like to see maybe Toronto, I don't know. I mean, they kind of have to keep going the same strategy, right? If they take opposing high ground, it just comes down to whose soldier is going to be better and maybe what Genji could get in the right position. But if they attack them yet again at the high ground, they're just going to run to the same, you know, pitfall.
Yeah, we're also seeing like the difference in impact so far. LG Evil, they've got 3 ultimates up. Toronto Esports, they're pretty far away from Oni God's tactical advisor. Jarrah does have that blade at the ready, but Raw 420, he's getting closer and closer to a Transcendence.
If Jarrah is going to go in for Jake, he's going to need the speed out of his loose out of Luda to keep him alive. And we're going to see the initial kills come through. Jake did pop his tac visors to make sure they have a solid victory on this fight, which they will very much do. Avast picks himself up a double kill, and Rob will close out onto Note. So, what, they invested 2 ultimates?
That was so disciplined.
Yeah, and the visor, that's it.
And like at Primal Rage, you know, it's not the most impactful. It's really useful when you're trying to stall out, right? So for Super to use it, it's not that consequential. And now, with 1 minute and 20 seconds, Toronto Esports, they're really baking up a lot of these ultimates. Note, he's 4% away from his self-destruct, but it's Snow who is so far away from his Transcendence right now.
Luckily for Snow, though, there's nothing on the enemy team for LG Evil that is going to force him to use his Trans. It's more just keep his team alive as they go for that engagement. Which, speaking of that, we do see Ani got pop his visor, but look, there's a Diva. It's Bo directly in his face. He's completely shut him down. Not to mention, he's going to be chased down. Or was being chased down for a second before he does get away.
No, did get a pretty crucial kill onto Vol, so now Onigod has no one to stop him. He's on the high ground here, just spotting them out, getting free damage off. Helix Rocket did connect, but now they're playing line of sight, and Jake, it looks like they're just going to force them back. Onigod goes down as Train gets the flank onto him. Now we're in the hot seat for Toronto Esports. 37 seconds left on the clock. They've got 3 ultimates to work with.
So you're banking on Jarrah, you're banking on this blade, right? Problem is Rob, he's got his trance. He's already ready to go to stop this. He's in a perfect spot to prevent this from really working. Jake's going to be able to run away, and he has the healing, or he doesn't need to run away, obviously, with the Transcendence. But Luda needs to stick with Jarrah to give him that speed, to give him that mobility so he can actually pick up a kill, because they're all grouped up, which is a perfect position to use this blade.
Yeah, but he hasn't gone in quite yet. Snow is going to use that Transcendence first, but Jarl goes down without using his blade. That was a boss that took him out. It's a 6v5 sound barrier coming out from the side of Toronto Esports, and with that, Cynic was able to pick up the kill onto Jake, but now both of these supports getting called out. It's going to be Snow that goes down, but Super with the backhand. Did he get the kill? He will actually be able to get the cleave kill onto Onigod and LG Evil. only giving up 1 tick, about 62% so far as Jaro comes back. He's got the Dragon Blade, but the self-destruct comes out from Bull, and Super will finish off Jaro.
Avast booped him back, so he could not run away from the self-destruct to pick up that kill. That was insane. But I mean, Jaro, okay, so we'll talk about him really quickly, and I swear we don't mean anything negative by this, but yes, he died with his blade up, right? But he knew that there would be a trance to stop him. So he was trying to bait out the trance so that he could use his blade to actually pick up kills. If he used his blade, it would have been countered out by the Transcendence and he would have gotten nothing from it. So I like the move. It's unfortunate he died without getting the trance popped, but that's kind of a showing of LG Evil and, you know, in particular, Rob, of just realizing, well, I don't need to use this trance just yet. I don't have that pressure on me. So very smart play by them, and you already pointed it out, just smart use of ultimates in general. Really good ult management out of LG Evil.
Yeah, you can see the real discipline coming out from LG Evil squad so far. So now it's going to be LG. They're on the offensive. And take a look at that win condition, 62.9%. That's all Toronto Esports was able to get. So one victory, and it could just all be over here on the first map.
Not to mention, if you're defending here, Jamerson, like, it's so difficult to have proper ult management when you know you have to hold that first point, and you have to hold it below 60 or 63%. So you're going to be more likely to commit an ultimate that you don't need to make sure you don't lose the point, right? To make sure you don't lose that extra person, or to make sure you get those extra kills or two.
Yeah, so no one wants to save an ultimate until the next map. So.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, right?
No.
So, I mean, people might hope so, but it doesn't work like that. So you're going to have to be a little bit quicker to these ultimates, which is always going to work in LG Evil's favor. But at the same time, you know, LG Evil, were forced to defend first. So they were the ones that actually kind of set the standard, set the win condition for themselves.
All right, so Toronto Esports, we got about 20 seconds before LG Evil get out the gates here. They're sticking with that exact same composition. Cynic on the Winston, Note on the Diva, Onigod on the 76, and Jaro once again on, excuse me, the Genji.
Well, look where he's playing, right? Onigod was just dancing over a spray. Look how far back they are. They're actually not on the high ground. So they're not trying to contest the high ground position right off the bat. So Onigod's assuming he's going to be pushed down, and he's just might as well just back away anyways.
They've got to be careful, though. If they do that, LG Evil might just be able to get onto the point and just get a tick for a free, and then set that goal even closer here as they are approaching from the high ground.
They're on the point already. They're actually getting very far in progress. They're actually almost up to a third here. Finally, someone's able to jump on the point, but I think they did accomplish that. Jake on the high ground is going to be able to just spam away at them, but they're all on the low ground to contest. They're out of line of sight of their own healer. Cynic is going to fall because he doesn't have the healing there around the corner. The point is still halfway now done here, Jamerson. A misplay in position for Toronto Esports is just going to cost them this first map.
Yeah, it's just Luddy there along with Onigod, and he's going to get cleaned up very shortly. And that's exactly what we were talking about. You pointed it out. They were far back in Main Street there. They were over by the car, not trying to contest the high ground, and that allowed 3 members of LG Evil just to hop on, get a free tick. By the time anyone noticed, it was already too late.
And Cynic was forced to jump back, right? And then he jumps into the point. He has to play in a really bad position where he can be hit from every angle to be in line of sight of his healers, and they don't have an Ana to out-heal the damage being done to him. So the defensive position was a little bit awkward of Toronto, but maybe they were hoping for something, hoping for that first initial fight victory to transition that into more, but that wasn't even close.
Yeah, with that initial offense, I was expecting Toronto Esports to go something a little bit cheesy, right? Try to go for that Torbjorn, something that teams might not be ready for.
I hate you so much right now. Yeah, go for something. Go for the Torbjorn. He's like probably my most hated hero behind Mei.
Yeah.
And Genji. And Hanzo. And Diva.
Boy, I almost just went on a rant, a Comp Q rant, but I'm not going to right now. I am going to talk about Toronto. It's really hard to judge them too much based on their defense because it was so short there. Maybe not the best plan coming in as far as defenses, but you could tell they had a plan. Well,
I mean, let's not judge them. Let's just talk about LG Evil and how well they played on the defense, right?
Well, maybe I want to judge. Maybe I want to judge them a little bit. You know,
I mean, we are American, right?
Yeah. No. Wow.
Are we? Are we all American?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anymore.
Sorry, it might be
no. But what I was going to say. What I was going to say is
definitely American.
I actually liked a lot of the things that they did on offense. Obviously, they didn't work out very well, but you could tell they came out with a game plan. They wanted to get at Jake first of all, which has worked with mixed success in the past. Really. Whether or not that was a good choice is beside the point right now. They weren't able to get to Jake, so it was more of an execution issue. I also thought their ult management was all right. I mean, they popped 3 ultimates to try to take the point at the end. Even though they had 6, they were thinking long term. The problem is, once again, the 3 ultimates that they used didn't actually end up getting them the result. So they probably should have blown 6, but they have these long-term plans. They just need to figure out how to execute them.
Yeah, one of the things about LG Evil on their defense was that they looked crisp and solid, right? They were able to deflect the dive and then counter-engage upon them. Every single time that Toronto Esports tried to just jump onto them, we noticed that they were able to fall back. That was Jake falling back onto Main Street. And then we saw the re-engagement coming out from Super. Every single time he targeted down Snow.
I want to give credit to Train actually in his positioning because he was playing towards the staircase side, right? The opposite side away from his team. So already there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders to not die. What we had seen was, soldiers go high ground to contest, across the way, across the point. But he was there to actually stop that and prevent it. And if no one actually went in that position, what would he do? I swear I can speak English. He would just blink across the gap and get right up front with the rest of his team and fight. So it was really good position out of him to give them the information of, are they going lower? Are they going higher? And if not, he could join in the fight.
Yeah, another good thing that LG Evil really showed was their ult management and their ability to use only what they needed to take those individual fights. And while, Toronto, they were trying to do that, LG Evil obviously executed incredibly well. And I think that that's going to be something to watch moving forward for all these teams. But LG Evil, as, one of the cerebral teams, as we've called them, well, I mean, they're one of the ones to adopt that very early. Let's talk about Voldiva a little bit. He blocked some nano visors, and Diva overall really important right now.
So I'm going to do the opposite of what we did with Toronto, talking about the positive LG Evil did. Was that Toronto not playing that correctly, though? Because they knew there was a Diva.
Yeah.
They knew he could jump across the gap and block him, and yet he popped the visor anyways, which is either a sign of, hey, we want to get the Diva away from the rest of his team, or B, we forgot to desuit him before we popped the ultimate. Because if the Diva wasn't there, he would have picked up a lot of damage and potentially a lot of kills, or if anything, forced out a lot of ultimates. But it just completely got nullified, and that's, I guess, the power of Diva, right? If you can play her correctly.
Yeah, one of the scary things, though, for me was that there was no kinds of swap-offs coming up from Toronto Esports, right? They continued to try and do that dive once again over and over again into LG Evil. But Numbani's a map that a lot of teams have figured out different strats for. Some of them, you can push in from under, go into the stairs through S, and then try and contest the high ground from there. You could try to go for maybe a triple tank setup so you can have a bit more beef behind your push. But they made no swap-offs, and that's kind of scary when you don't see any kind of swap-offs.
Well, you know what? One team that's going to get another chance to try to show us what they've got is Toronto, as we're going to be going into Nepal next. They're going to have 3 to 5 points. I think that they're hoping to get some opportunities against this LG Evil to show what they've got, and of course to show all of us what they've got as they went down fairly decisively in map number 1. They're going to try to tie things up here on Nepal.
All right, so Jason, what do you think about Nepal here between this matchup, LG Evil and Toronto Esports?
I worry for Toronto Esports, if LG Evil gets set up on point with what we just saw in Numbani, are they ever going to be able to retake it? And I just saw an interesting stat today, a statistic about teams who win the first fight on Control win the sub-map, I guess you can say, 66% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, we see how impactful it is to get that first team fight win. You generally walk away with the ultimate advantage and kind of snowball from there. Also, a lot of teams on their retake positioning, it's a little bit more difficult, right? Defense is much more easy to coordinate than an offense.
Luckily for Toronto, though, I mean, this map is going to be a lot different than Numbani. There's a lot of different angles you can hit from, a lot of different positioning you can hit from, hopefully, for them. I see your face.
Oh.
I see your PogChamp face. And I kind of wanted to continue to see it, as we did have Onigod hovering over on Orisa, which we did see LG Evil being basically the first team to ever use her, especially on this point. But we're not going to see it, unfortunately, here.
That's a shame. So it looks like it is going to be mirrored compositions coming out from both sides. We've got the Winstons, the Divas, the Tracers, and the 76s right now. It's Toronto Esports on the high ground, while LG Evil are spread out, trying to look for an opening to get on top of Toronto.
No Genjis, actually. I'm a little bit kind of disappointed. Maybe Jaro's not feeling too confident as Genji. Obviously, Soldier on this point is extremely strong because of the distance you can play from. But the whole reset mechanic and the whole power and fear that a good Genji can bring into a team is never underestimated.
Yeah, one of the really telling things here is that Toronto Esports are playing so tentatively. You saw them, that they were all 6 huddled up in that corner, and it was LG Evil who took the initiative on them. We're just able to win out that team fight without losing anybody.
Yeah, Toronto, they gave up the initial high ground, and then when you can kind of hammer down away from that position. I mean, we're talking about that being a cerebral team and how smart Jake is in general as a player and as a person. He probably knew, all right, well, the defense matrix is gone. They have nothing left of this. Let's just rush in and pick up these initial kills and hit that focus, call out those targets we need to finish off. And now Toronto, they're going to pretty much exactly the same initial fight that we just had happen, with the difference being Lola and Super are on point.
Yeah, they're going to push forward with that. The Winston dropped down about half HP. The Orbit Discord doing a lot of work. Snow will be able to finish off that kill onto him, but Avast immediately answers on back. Sound Barrier comes out from LG Evil as they continue their aggression. They are starting to fall back onto the point as we do have Vol dropping low on that Diva, but during all that, take a look at the kills coming in for LG Evil.
Well, importantly is that you can see Jake did get the kill on Ajaro, that 1v1, which is huge. It was crucial to actually deny away a lot of positioning, a lot of damage Ajaro could do here from columns or from pillars, but now we have to kind of think about ultimates. Sound Barrier was used out of Avast. Luda's going to have the advantage at 90%, and Onigod did use a pulse bomb in there, but Toronto Esports, they have a lot of tank ultimates to use. You know, Cynic has seemed to have been doing a lot more work than Super has. I mean, he's got 30% ahead of him in ult.
Right. Once again, Toronto Esports making their approach. 65% on the board for LG Evil, but Rob 420 able to line up the shots onto Onigod, making it immediate 65. Rob 420, he's going to go ahead and push the button as they all push forward. Jake gets the kill onto Cynic, and that's just going to sign the retreat coming out from Toronto Esports. It's coming down to the wire now. They've got 5 ultimates ready to use for this last possible team fight.
Something I want to talk about with Super and jumping in. Just remind me about that later, Jameson, when this map's over, because there's something really cool that we should talk about with them. We are going to potentially the final attacker. Jake has Tac Visor, which he hasn't used this entire time. Vol and both, or him and Note, do have their self-destructs, but you need to have that Diva, that damage mitigation to prevent these soldiers from doing so much work.
Yeah, Note used it, but they were not punished off the back of it. Didn't find anything, but it's going to be Jaro with that tactical visor. He's found the kill onto Rob for 20, but he's getting hunted down by Vol. He's dropped so low. Train will finish him off. Here's the self-destruct coming out from Vol this time, and Jake is going to go ahead and use his tactical visor just to clean up. Snow goes down. We have the sound barrier, but there's only 4 members for Toronto Esports here. Luddy was able to get that booth off onto Super, but is it going to be enough, Jason?
Well, Cynic is going to kill Navastin with the kill feed alternating red. It looks like Toronto will be able to take this point back right before they were going to lose out on it. I was actually expecting maybe LG Evil to save some ultimates because they already lost quite a few people. Why commit them unless you're 100% confident that you can take that point back? So now you have to go back to the drawing board here for LG Evil as they have nothing really to work with so far, but neither does Toronto, to be fair. They had to commit every ultimate into that last fight just to capture that point and at least drag this one out a little bit longer.
But baseline, no ultimates on the table. We saw LG Evil winning that initial fight. Now, it's a little bit of a different situation because they are on the retake, but still, we're seeing LG Evil just win out mechanically up against Toronto Esports so far.
Yeah, you saw right there with Train versus Onigod. Onigod was forced to back away to group up with his team, which allows Super to jump back in. Rob again opens things up. Collis Man, the opener, gets a kill on Ajaro this time, and these kills are all going the way of LG Evil. The points being captured. And Jameson, I think we have our first map victory here.
Yeah, it looks like it might just go on over to LG Evil as they are starting to clean up these stragglers. 2 minutes! Boom of the week. I'm calling it now. Luddy coming in for, and that might just be the saving grace as he does use that sound barrier just to keep himself alive, but he gets focused down by Vol. That buys enough time for the rest of TO to come on in, but Pulse Bomb Cynic goes down. Train coming up huge so far, and now that's the first point for LG Evil.
Don't forget, guys, Luda is the brother of Mendokusai, so he definitely has it in his genes to make these big plays happen. And there you go. I mean, it was perfect. It was beautiful. He picked up, I think, a double kill there and almost turned things back around to Toronto. Moving into the second point, I think we have a little bit of time here to talk about what I wanted to mention with Super. So during the actual the tryouts for the USA National Overwatch team, we found out that Super actually is very vocal when it comes to calling, especially on Winston's, especially on Reinhardt's, which is obviously the 2 heroes he plays, right? But he likes to call targets. And the typical way that you run dive is that you let your Genji, let your Tracer set up in a position to get the engagement they want, and then they call in to, all right, go, jump. And that allows them to have the freedom to push in. But instead, Super actually likes to make sure to be the person to call the targets they want to focus down. And you saw him actually waiting, being very patient, which is, I think, a little bit of an adaptation and growth within him as a player to wait for people to set up and then force the fight. I think he's actually learned quite a bit since we did see him back in the tryouts. And I think LG Evil, you know, obviously responds to it a little bit differently than we have the team that he was playing on during the tryouts.
Now we're loaded back onto Shrine here, and take a look. Jaro has swapped off. Onigod and Jaro both dropped down low, but it's Toronto Esports on the point so far. 3 seconds before it unlocks, and Super jumps on in. With the help of Jake, they will be able to clean up Cynic, and now it's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange. Both Winstons out of this equation. Yeah,
but you see the supporting kills where the Zenyatta's, the Discords, the constantly hammering away. Jake's being forced back, who's actually very low on HP, but they still have their supports alive here. And Rob, what is this man? What do they feed him? He's getting so many kills in all of these fights, whether he's opening the fight or he's getting them during the fight. He's always on this kill feed. Again, picking himself up another kill, this time on Luda, eventually falling. But this will give LG Evil the point.
Looks like he's definitely been eating his Zenyatta O's. I mean, Lucio has his own cereal. Why can't Zenyatta
Does it tilt you that Lucio are Lucios are Lucio-Os?
It does.
It's not Lucios, it's Lucio-Os.
Initially, when I saw that spray, I thought it said Lucy O's.
Right.
And then I had to do like a double, triple take to make sure it said Lucy O's.
But what does Zenyatta eat?
He is an Omnic. I'm not sure. Do they eat?
Power?
I'm not that deep in the lore.
Do they need to be
of Overwatch.
recharged? I actually don't know. Do they run on double Duracell batteries?
I mean, how does he put on that light show? Super. Already got the kill onto Jaro. Snow going on down. And those have been like the particular targets coming up from LG Evil every single time. Snow and Jaro have been the primary targets for LG Evil.
Well, you have to think about killing a Zenyatta. It works on 2 fronts. It stops his healing, stops 3 fronts, stops his Discord, and stops his damage. And you really can never underestimate the damage that he can do, plus the Discord orb on top. Train, he's pulling the sneak. He's actually behind the team. He's actually coming in from the high ground too, and they're all grouped up directly around him. He's just going to be looking for the jump in onto him, or at least from behind. The pole's going to come through, not going to land directly. The Sound Barrier's going to come in to counter the damage anyways.
Yeah, and LG Evil, they're going to go push forward, but Jaro has that Dragon Blade at the ready, but the Transcendence just heals that all up. Vol comes in with the double kill on that self-destruct, and it's another clean fight coming out from LG Evil.
I figured it out.
Huh?
I think Zenyatta's like Bender from Futurama.
Oh, he's just subsists off of alcohol and oil?
And oil, yeah. That's probably exactly what this man does. But, you know, looking at this, how it's going, 65%. LG Evil looking as strong as they did just on the prior map. Jake has his visor. Note does have a self-destruct, so maybe there's an opportunity to use the visor during the self-destruct if Note throws it in, but Note has to be so careful. He needs to mitigate the damage. They have to assume, but there's the self-destruct coming through. Jake hasn't popped his visor, though, so he's not going to be able to counter it out. But you can see Train behind just trying to punish him.
Yeah, Jaro was able to get the D-Mech onto Vol, and then the follow-up kill. Jaro just coming off, taking out Rob 420, so now they've got the 2-man advantage. Health bars dropping super low. There it is, Luddy will be able to pick up that kill, and looks like almost in the final hour, they were able to flip the point on over, but still, once again, LG Evil, 94%. They just need to win one team fight, Jason.
This is a sequel to the first movie of LG Evil winning on the last map. I mean, they have a Blade coming up soon. They have a chance to at least mitigate the damage Jake does. They also have Note there to help with that. So there's no big ultimate of LG Evil that I can see to dislodge them. If Toronto can play their cards right, at least use Snow's Transcendence to mitigate maybe 2 of these ultimates. You can see again, Train, he's flanking around. He's behind them again. This man is just not being spotted out with. And if he kills Snow, if he can actually force the Transcendence out before they use the visor, this is going to be huge.
Oh, Transcendence came out. The pulse bomb not quite connecting their Train. Was not able to get the kill, but Avast will onto Jaro. So now it's a 6v5. They use their sound barriers. Super finds the kill onto Snow. And now the supports are running out of time. Tactical visor used by Jake. He's going to clean up Onigod as the fight continues here on the point. D-Mech, Note is out of his Diva Mecha there, and he's being forced off. Vol will clean up his counterpart, and now they are running out of bodies, are Toronto Esports.
Yeah, we're going to see the final kill come through on this because he's going to die. You know, you have to give credit to Train, the way he actually distracted Snow so he didn't get the Transcendence off because he was trying to obviously monitor his HP. It allowed them to get the kill on a Jaru, which was allowing them to win that fight once they held out and waited for the Transcendence to fall. And LG Evil will be able to take it 2-0 now on Nepal. James, this is looking good for LG Evil. They're looking definitely on point here. Definitely. At the same time, okay, now let's just go to this conversation, you know, and is LG Evil playing that well, or is Toronto Esports not playing that good? That's the question we always have to ask ourselves, right? Is Toronto just really struggling against LG Evil, or LG Evil just playing on a whole other level up this rate?
I don't think it's about playing good or bad. I think it's about playing with nerves, which is what's really showing out of Toronto Esports. When we were on Sanctum, did you see how passive they were every single time they backed off into that same corner and got cornered by LG Evil? Now here on, when they were on Shrine, they tried to go for that Diva engage, but even then they were really tentative, right? The Diva self-destruct, you're supposed to use that to spread out the forces of LG Evil and then dive onto a target. But after that self-destruct came out, they did nothing with it. They just stood there. It looks like the nerves are really getting to Toronto Esports here. Now we are loaded onto Village for our 3rd point.
Yeah, Jar going to be on the far, Snow going to be on the Mercy. You know, this is definitely in their kit here, but Snow actually already going to go down. Discord was there, Jake hit the shots, and you saw, most importantly, Jake wasn't being harassed. He was just standing there. He wasn't moving, putting a lot of his focus on hitting those shots, on killing Snow as quick as he possibly could. And with Snow dying on the Mercy, switches right to the Zenyatta, Jaro switches over to the Genji. So it was a risky play. It was worth it to obviously try, but now they're being forced to switch, and now they lost a little bit of ult% they could have had.
Yeah, so LG Evil once again with the opening volley, getting that team fight win. And you had mentioned that stat earlier on today. The team that wins the first team fight, 66% chance of winning out the entire point there. Now, we do have the engage coming out from Toronto Esports. They've got a good about third of the points so far, but they did retreat off. 2 kills coming on over on the side of Toronto Esports. That's Snow and Jaro, but it's immediately answered on back, and now LG Evil once again just winning this team fight. It's been a pretty one-sided affair so far.
Very one-sided. Actually, I would assume maybe LG Evil was played maybe against bots. I don't know, maybe that's a little bit too harsh. It actually is very harsh, and I'm sorry, actually, I take that one back, Toronto. But the way Jake was playing there, I love how smart he was. He only showed himself enough to have a direct line to the target he was attacking, so he wouldn't be visible to other targets. So the Discord orb, most importantly, out of Snow. So he was attacking Cynic from a different angle where the rest of Toronto could not back him up, and that's just basically free damage. You're going to take that every day of the week.
All right, so they got the D-Mech onto Vol with that Pulse Bomb, so that's pretty good as they push forward, but they don't have a Soldier 76, so it's maybe not the biggest of wins. Now, both mechs are now gone. That allowed Jake to pop his Tactical Visor, but immediately Snow uses that Transcendence. Unfortunately, he wasn't there to keep Onigod alive, and now LG Evil once again winning this team fight. They only lost Vol in this one. It's come up to 71%. It's gonna come down to the wire here for Toronto Esports. One more team fight left.
I like how Train and Onigod both focused on the divas right away, and this is something we've seen a lot in Korean Overwatch. If you kill those divas with pulse bombs, you get the D suit. It allows attack visor to come through. Jake was able to use his, and it forced the Transcendence out of Snow instead. So it forces basically another ultimate that maybe Toronto didn't need to commit because of the great play out of the Tracers.
They're gonna have 4 almost for this last team fight. Note getting closer and closer to that self-destruct as he does chase his counterpart onto the high ground. Onigod can't decide on who he wants to target down. Pulse Bomb comes out. He is going to actually get the kill onto Vol, but already Jake and Train coming in 4-2. It's a 2-for-1 exchange so far. LG Evil winning. Jaro does have that Dragon Blade. He finds the kill onto Super. Now he's trying to hunt down more. He's going to use his dash, but they will flip the point for now, giving them a little bit of a lifeline as Onigod gets the kill onto Avast, and LG Evil just retreat off. And once again, they're in that exact same position. They just need to win one team fight, and they'll walk away with the points.
That was so dirty what Onigod did. He actually pulse-bombed Vol at the perfect time that Vol was de-suiting to pop his self-destruct, which means Vol, well, I mean, you're throwing out your self-destruct, but the pulse bomb's still on your mech suit, and he got blown up by that. So it actually works out really well for them to prevent that resuit from coming in. So credit to Onigod there. And Jaro with the blade being very patient to go for his dashes, but Train sticking to the point is actually going to force him to drop. At least force one person to drop, and so far no one's doing it. Don't tell me he's a free cap here. Finally someone's going to come down, but it's just Jaro. He's 1v2.
Yeah, that's who you don't want to go contest the point, right? Jar was supposed to go and look for the frags, and that just made Toronto Esports completely disjointed in how they want to defend this. Now they are starting to answer back. Letty was able to pick up the kill onto the boss, but Jake has that tactical visor, and with the help of Train, they are just cleaning house here, overtime ticking away, and that's going to be LG Evil with another dominant performance here, and that's going to be the second map on the board for them.
Yeah, I do take back what I said about Toronto, by the way, because they have a lot of great individual play and a lot of great skill ceilings across the team. But they're just not seeming to find what's working against LG Evil. That's the kind of the problem I'm seeing here.
Yeah, and from my perspective, just watching this game, my big question is, where is the kill potential coming out of Toronto right now? They are struggling to find it. And you asked the question
They have it.
And that's the thing. Well, and you could even see Jaru making some good blade plays there and getting a few kills. But overall, and maybe it's something to be said about like Rob 420 contributing to kills and that X factor there. But with how decisive these have been, you asked, is this more of a deficiency from Toronto or more of LG Evil having more of a proficiency? And I think it has to be a little bit of both, because LG Evil, they're playing out of their minds for sure. And Toronto, we've seen bigger plays from them for sure.
Yeah, one of the things about Toronto, which we saw there on Village, you had mentioned how they were trying to focus down the Diva, right? They even committed the Pulse Bomb into it. The thing is, the order of operations, just not there. They didn't have a Soldier 76, so the priority wasn't on that Diva at that point. They needed to find someone else, and it looks like it might just be experience at this point that's winning out for LG Evil.
So I think, and this is like my terrible analysis going into this, I think the biggest problem is that they do have the potential, they do have the playmakers. The problem is they're not setting them up. They're not setting Jaro up in a way that he can perform. Like we saw in Nambani, Jaro would go in with the rest of his team, and he would try to go for Jake, but Jake would run away. There wasn't enough, maybe a Discord orb in there. There wasn't maybe like the Winston on top of him to protect Jaro a little bit longer. Obviously, Nambani, it's a little bit hard in that position. but they're not like baiting out ultimates to allow Jaro to excel. Because as a Genji, you can only do so much when there's a Transcendence to stop you, right? You can only do so much when there's a Primal Rage or Winston knocking you away. So it's more for me about forcing ultimates out of LG Evil to allowing their DPS players to perform.
And talking about a team that knows how to enable themselves, LG Evil, they've been together so long. They've got synergy that runs real deep. And you can see how that slight advantage, well, it's not necessarily as slight as it might appear. They have really been able to turn things in their favor. And they're now up 2-0 against Toronto Esports. It looks like it is going to be Temple of Anubis we're going to be going to next. And of course, with the format the way it is, the loser of the previous map chooses the next one. And so we LG Evil chose the first one. And that was, you know, a pretty solid victory. I think we can all agree. And now we're going to see what Toronto can bring out here to try to bring things back.
So it's going to be like another Nimbani in my head. If you can't get Jaru or Onigod in a position to... I mean, the thing is, Onigod did a great job. He got quite a few pulse bombs off. He stuck quite a few of them. They were just on the Vol most of the time to get the D-suit so they could pick up the kills. You know, a couple times he got lucky and got it in the middle of a D-suit, but... I want to see, I know Jaru can play. I know he's a good Genji.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking bad about him, you know, I apologize to you, Jaru, but it's just that he's not being set up in a way to excel. And it's such a small, minute thing, but in the grand scheme of things of how Overwatch works, it's massive.
No, they need to unlock that kill potential because it is there. We have seen it. And so the question shouldn't be, can they do it? Is how are they going to actually do it? And this is the team that you've got to prove that against. So far, because right now they are off of a victory. They beat You Guys Get Paid earlier on. They tied Envision, right? So they're in second place right now in the group. And this is obviously going to be their toughest opponent going into Temple of Anubis. Now, do you think we'll see them trying to adapt creatively, or are they going to just try to do the same things they've been doing?
Well, Temple of Anubis, while we did allude it to how similar it is to an Nimbani, point A, relatively easy taken. Point B is where you're able to set up a much more stalwart defense. And we'll see what kinds of things Toronto Esports have in hand. I don't know if they have a Sombra player. I wasn't really able to spot that out from them, but that is always, you know, a difficulty that a lot of attacking teams run into, try to deal with that Sombra. So if they do have that in the pocket, I want to see them use that, but I haven't seen it myself.
And that's the thing, is we haven't seen enough to necessarily know, because I know LG Evil would bring that out if they needed to. And that's the thing is, and this is why this is so fun, because we get to actually see how these new teams are able to adapt, especially up against the odds that this Toronto squad is.
I want to see a Widowmaker. I don't know.
A Widow?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're kind of up against the wall and in the situation that Toronto Esports are now in, considering it's a double or it's a 2-week round robin kind of group stage, the best they can hope for now is a tie against them.
Yeah.
And going into next week when they have to rematch against them, you want to be able to have an easier time to win the head-to-head if it gets into tiebreakers in the groups, which obviously we'll explain when the time comes next week. We probably will. I think we probably will. At least somewhere across EU and NA.
We'll see.
Maybe Widowmaker, like we had Dids just use that just yesterday and really surprised us all, picked up 4 or 5 kills. And
And I'm trying to remember from the qualifiers if maybe Snow brought it out, or, my memory is not good enough for that. Could be Note. Either way, we're going to find out here shortly as Temple of Anubis. It's going to be map number 3.
So we've seen a lot of Temple of Anubis before, Jason. LG Evil particularly, one of the first teams in North America to really run that like Sombra defense on point B to great effect. What did you think about it?
about Sombra in general?
Sombra on Anubis point B. We saw it.
So many times that we've seen it, it's so damn successful. It's almost too easy. It makes me believe that I can actually play Sombra because of how easy it looks sometimes. And obviously it's not, because the fact is you have to monitor your hacked health packs, right? You have to know when to EMP versus when not to. You have to trust that your team's picking up these health packs. It's just, it's whether or not I think if the enemy team can bait out your EMP, or I still say Pharah Mercy, like on second point, is pretty decent against it. As long as your Mercy doesn't get hacked, you get the res off because they're going to commit quite a bit to that EMP, and then you get the refight. Maybe Ginger Pop, can chime in about that or something like that since he plays a lot of Mercy. But I mean, Sombra's really good. At the moment, we're seeing Toronto sit on it with attack. That paired with the Pharah, I don't know about. That's a little bit risky to me because Sombra's really going to depend on a Tracer or Genji to pick up health packs, but you also unlock more potential with a Tracer Genji for the fact that you can be more aggressive with those two heroes, pick up a health pack and get back in, and then know you have an EMP for the reset. And Obviously, as we do as casters talk about a pick, it gets changed last second. We look like idiots.
Yeah, but on the side of LG Evil, they're going for that 2-2-2. Once again, we're seeing the divas out for both sides. Note and Vol. Winston's, of course, Cynic and Super dropped a little low. Is going to have to back off as Jaru is getting challenged right now by Vol.
Jake just trying to run away and kite yet again here, but they finally been able to actually lock him down there when they were unable to on the body. So with him falling, they actually have the potential to take this point here. They get a decent on a Volt too. If they can finish off that kill, it'd be huge.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of teams actually struggle here on point A defense, and it's kind of just become a foregone conclusion that it's gone. Not very often we actually see the full hold coming out, as the trades are coming back and forth. For the side of Toronto Esports, they were able to clean up Vol. 2 ticks almost on the board there. And now we do have Jake on the high ground. He might be able to contest. Note has been taken out of his mag, and wow!
He gets
From
the kill.
up top, Jake gets the kill onto Cynic.
And they're gonna drop down, and Luda's gonna fall eventually after that. The post was gonna come through and actually catches onto Jake. So here there actually might be an opportunity for Toronto to actually turn this around. Snow's at 8% on his res, so no more chance for him to use it, but he dies yet again here. Super focuses him down. And Toronto, you got 2/3 of the way through. You got about 90% built up, but you're not gonna close this one out for now.
I feel like that might have been a misplay coming out from Snow. Jumping right into the middle of a Winston when you had the Pharah a split second behind you. He could have just backed off, pocketed her, put the damage boost onto Jaru, and then try and hope that Oni God survives.
The first time he did die, it was because he was on the ground, and Jaru was on the ground too. So I'm actually wondering, why was Jaru on the floor of the map when he should have been up to help Snow? Maybe he's trying to pick up people inside that small little room. But again, we know where Toronto wants to go with it. They want to dislodge Jake. They want to prevent him from having that high ground control, which they did very well doing. But they're in an old deficit here, and Snow dies again, the 3rd time. This man is being focused down so heavily by LG Evil.
It feels like they have a game plan every single time when they approach these fights on the side of LG Evil. Snow and Cynic. Take out the Winston, take out one of the supports, primarily Snow. We saw on Gibraltar, excuse me, not Gibraltar, on Numbani that it took Snow a really long time to build up his first Transcendence when he was on Zenyatta. He was, I believe, he got his first one at the 1 minute mark, maybe 1:30, which is generally not where you want to be in charging your support ultimates.
Hey, I feel like when I can do that, I feel pretty proud of myself, okay? Yeah, no, you're right. Like, you need to be able to try to solve it a little quicker. But again, it's kind of his fault, not his fault. It's not his fault because he didn't have people to fly to stay safe. And right now he's actually waiting for the rest to come through, which is going to get a 3-man. But the follow-up after this, what's it going to be?
Self-destruct comes out from Vol, but it's not going to connect onto anyone. Sound barriers were used on both sides. That's going to allow Onigon to get the kill onto Jake. Now, Super on the point contesting so far. Orb of Discord on Note so far, but he's still at 25. He's getting healed up right now. Now he's readjusted his focus onto the Lucio, takes him out with the help of Trade.
All right, so this ideally should be Toronto taking the point here. They have more than enough people to finish this one off, and they've gotten definitely enough kills. Train's just trying to be annoying. Rob going to be switching over to the Sombra now to deal with this second point take when it comes in, and luckily for him, he died early enough that he can get 2 hacks in onto those Megas, or at least onto 1 Mega and onto a Mini to prevent Toronto from just kind of rushing through. But also switch coming in the camp here, Toronto, going to a Roadhog. So what to me that says is they want to get that initial pick and then turn it into a point take. Ideally, he catches Rob. He catches the Sombra and prevents any sort of EMP from coming through. Or if he catches Jake, that's a big amount of DPS now lost.
Yeah, we saw that earlier. One of our newest. Yeah, there it is. That is the immediate counter coming out from Note, being able to one-shot Rob 420. It's very hard to react with that translocator. Now that's the second kill coming in from Toronto Esports. They are flooding onto the point. Justice reigns from above as Jarl picks up the kill onto Super. And now with the boss going down, that should be the second tick coming in. Rob 420 will fall to Luddy. That's his second kill on this attack.
All right, well, there we go. Toronto going to close that one out. Note coming up big for his team. Not only does he take down Rob with a Sombra, he takes down Train on Tracer and allows them to transition into a clean second point take. So they struggled on the first, but hey, doesn't matter if you struggle on first because of how much time you get going into second. They have 4 minutes and 3 seconds remaining. Really well done by Toronto. And I feel like the points we were making earlier on about them and where they were kind of lacking in their inability to kill certain targets completely changed going into Temple of Anubis.
Yeah, what I really liked was Note swapping off onto that Roadhog. You called it out early on. As soon as they capped point A, they knew they were probably going to have to deal with that Sombra, and you need to be able to have that one-shot ability. You know, sometimes we've seen teams try to adjust for it using a McCree, but the flashbang isn't as reliable, but the hook did come on in, and that allowed Toronto Esports just to snowball off of that. I thought initially their push didn't look that strong.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
taking out Sombra, making sure she couldn't get that EMP up as quickly as we see most teams do. That was a huge boon for Toronto Esports. Now lifeline for them as LG Evil will be on the attack. Now take a look. Do you think Rob 420 is going to go for this?
I'm going to say yeah, actually.
Yeah?
I'm going to say there's a very good possibility. We've seen quite a few different styles. Like on Hollywood earlier on today in our first match, we had Gingerbots playing Soldier instead of playing healer, or playing support. So why not go for maybe an early pick? Maybe you'll hit it, and maybe you'll unlock that first point without much loss for you. Knowing me trying to guess this, he's probably going to switch back, so I'm not ready to be too committed to this. But it is a possibility, and it has potential to work, as we've seen plenty of times.
Yeah, so 20 seconds left for them to lock in this roster. Snow, though, currently hovering on that Sombra for their point A defense. I want to see which mega health pack he's actually going to go for.
I think he's going to go for the high. Yeah, he's going to take this one away because I think they're assuming LG Evil's going to go high ground here and use Jake on the Soldier to just hammer away from the buff. So if they take this to actually prevent a lot of extra healing that LG Evil's going to get, especially if they're running only one support.
Yep, so Rob has walked out the gates with that Widowmaker, just checking his back, making sure he's very cautious at this point. And this is the thing about offensive Widowmakers, right? You can miss a lot of shots, but it just takes that one, right? 20 shots, 1 kill. Never mind, 1 shot, 1 kill. Rob immediately taking Jaru out of that fight. Jake, even with the follow-up Helix rocket onto Onigod. Snow dropping down real low. That's gonna be super. And LG Evil just like that.
I'm sorry. We talked about, like, you just need that one shot. He hits the first shot, but then misses everything thereafter. But it doesn't matter because his team's there. They're going to clean this one up here. And that's what we talked about, right? The kill potential out of a Widow. You don't normally expect it to come through, especially out of a support player. But if you can take down a Genji and you can open up and crack open that point, that's insane. I already called Rob 420 the opener before. He's just proven it again.
Now, here we go. He goes in for that grapple shot. Style points coming out from Rob 420, but he's going to swap off onto the Sombra, so they're going to stay with this solo support composition. Jake even swapping off.
We did see this, I believe, out of him at the show match between USA and Canada just this last week. So the Reaper can be very good. It actually has a lot of longevity when it comes to these points and deals really well with tanks. Especially like a Tracer or Genji, if you get in close range of him, he can practically one-shot you, or he can one-shot you. So you have to be very careful. And it's very easy to play a Reaper into a Sombra because the fact is, you don't need your shift. You don't need your E to do damage or to do anything. You just have your raw Hellfire shotguns.
I bet Jake wished he had his shift there, though, the Wraith form, to walk away from that as they forced them back. And so that was the saving grace for Toronto Esports. Even though they lost that point relatively decisively, they were able to stall out long enough for Snow to build up his ultimate off the hacked health packs.
I wonder what would have happened if Snow wasn't playing Sombra initially. Because we did see, right, LG Evil switched to Sombra's second point, but they weren't able, with them being really aggressive, but they weren't able to actually get the EMP quick enough. So if there was no EMP there, I wonder if LG Evil would have been able to take that point.
We've seen teams get stalled out over and over again. Rob, he's going to go ahead and pop his stealth and jumps on in. He's got the manual hack. I think it landed on Onigod there. He might have recalled just in time, but Sound Barrier did come out from a boss, but EMP comes out, and it might just be enough as Jaru, though, comes in. He's got a triple kill with that Dragon Blade. Toronto Esports will be able to force back LG Evil.
So I don't know how I feel about the Sombra actually here on attack against the defensive one. I mean, I talked about this a long time ago, trying to like theory craft it. If you're Sombra, you can't hack a hacked EMP or a hacked health pack. You have to EMP it. And you're not going to commit your EMP to just a health pack, right? And it's going to take you a lot longer to build yours up because you don't have any, set health packs to use already. So I think he's trying to unlock Jake a little bit to use that Death Blossom, but at the same time, I don't know how I feel about him kind of being the only support. And if Snow can keep hacking, these 2 or 3 health packs around this point, you're not going to have a chance to really do much as Rob.
All right, Train did spot out Snow. He's dropped down low. He's able to translocate out all the way to spawn. He's even got Luddy there to keep him safe just in case. Voldo with that self-destruct finds a kill onto Cynic, but with Rob 420 down, Jake, that might be the crucial pick they need to try and win out this team fight. It's still a really staggered team fight that's going on for a really long time. That's going to allow Toronto Esports to get the respawns in. Self-destruct comes out, doesn't connect onto anything. Now, Vol just trying to get back into his mech, but they're not allowing him yet. Rob 420 coming back with the Sombra.
Yeah, we do have Death Blossom up for Jake, but he gets taken out by Jaru, so no potential to use it here. Rob probably saved his EMP into the next fight, though. The Soundbar was committed out of Avast, though, after losing Jake already. I'm not sure if I fully agree with that one, but it might have just been in the process before Jake did fall. The EMP's going to come in finally out of Rob, but there's no real backup for this one. There's no one they can actually really kill. Jaru, yeah, he's going to be the man to go down, but the health pack under the bridge has not been hacked, and they're still trying to contest this point. They have to give this up soon. There's no way they can continue to fight this one. Either they have to run off or just go die.
Yep, and already now Toronto Esports have the time advantage. EMP did come out from Snow here. There are a few low targets.
Oh,
Jake
my
comes
Lord.
in. He's got the Death Blossom, and we haven't seen that in so long. That's so satisfying to see. Now Dragon Blade does come out from Jaru. He only gets the 1 kill onto a Vost. Now, there's the Pulse Bomb. Doesn't get the D-Mech. Vol is actually just going to be able to heal up, and that just helps out LG Evil.
All right, well, this makes me feel a little bit better about calling to them just run away. Yeah, they did get, a third of the point taken. They didn't get that second unlock just yet. You can see Rob trying to camp that bottom health pack, trying to be going back in yet again. He does have his AMP. He's going to pop it off. He's going to use it to hit quite a few people, but no one's there. Jake just respawned back in, switched to Soldier. There's no follow-up except maybe Train. And this contestant going to keep going and going and going, build up ultimates for Toronto at this rate.
Yep, there's the self-destruct, doesn't connect. They're just trying to force people off the point by more and more time. He's going to get that remech, and so the staggers are really coming in, though. Jake and Vol.
They have the health pack. I don't know how they hacked it, but they must have forced the fight so long that Snow couldn't get the rehack onto it, allowing them to take it, and allowing them to get so much extra healing at that position. And anyone that drops down there, if you're by yourself, you're going to die 1v3.
Now, Vol was demeched. He has fallen back. We had the sound barrier coming out on the side of LG Evil, but on the back of that, they haven't been able to pick up the kills quite yet. And I feel like this has just been one long team fight for the last 2 minutes. I don't know where we are anymore as Jaro's coming in now with the cleanup crew. Now forcing back LG Evil finally after what feels like 3 minutes.
I think it was about 3 minutes, I'm not gonna lie. And Jake, who did go from Reaper to Soldier, excuse me, went back to Reaper last second.
It seems like, the players aren't the only ones getting hacked. My brain is getting hacked here because I've lost all sense of time at this point. 2 minutes now. Time's starting to dwindle away for LG Evil and Toronto Esports. They've already effectively at least gotten a 3-minute lead on them.
And that's if even LG looking to finish off this point. I mean, we have Snow with an EMP, Jar with a blade, and you can see him position himself to use this. He's just trying to be careful of Jake, who can really eliminate him, really cause him a lot of pressure. Not to mention Super on that Winston. The EMP is there. It's going to be used. Going to catch on quite a few yet again. Cynic will fall. Super's able to get the return kill onto Onigod, or at least another kill onto Onigod, but you can see that Toronto are waiting for their ultimates.
Yeah, self-destruct comes out. Nothing coming in quite yet, but here's the Dragon Blade for Jaro. Once again, he's going to connect onto Train, and now he's hunting down that Winston. He's playing around the health pack, though, and that might just be helping out LG Evil. Rob 420, once again, at 50% ultimate charge, but with the D-Mech, with the kill onto Super, they're going to have to back away. A minute, 25 seconds left.
Jaro really wanted that kill. And LG Evil really want to take this point. Their ultimate usage, and that we've been talking about, using minimal amount of ults to take points and to defend, has not been there so far on the second point. We've seen, I want to say, a little bit of sloppy play, like EMPs timed awkwardly without Jake's Death Blossom, and obviously Trey with Pulse Bombs, you can't really count him as using ultimates because he's just trying to get those picks to allow them to push into the point here. But with a minute left, LG Evil have the pressure on them. Onigod's in a great position yet again above them. He almost had his Pulse Bomb up, which would have been so detrimental to LG Evil that it could have actually stopped this fight before it began.
Pulse bombs coming out from both sides, connected mostly on to the Divas. No frags going over quite yet, but it will be Jake cleaning up the kill onto Cynic there, forcing back Jaru into spawn. Super buys the kill onto Snow. So now they're pushing forward with a 4-man advantage, and the only thing that Toronto Esports have done so far is getting Vol out of the mech.
I love this. Actually, so No got desuited. He had his self-destruct up, but what he's doing is he's waiting to use this and pairing with Snow to use the MP and the self-destruct together to eliminate the sound barrier, which was just caught off. It hit 5 people, and the MP immediately shreds that one away here. LG Evil don't have the HP they wanted to hold on to this point.
Yeah, Rob 420 comes back with a hack of his own, but Jaro has finally cleaned up Vol. Here's the Death Blossom. Doesn't get anything, but Train will. And with the help of Super now, that DPS duo, they're coming in. Jay gets the kill onto Onigod. They might have finally broken the defense, but take a look. Now we're in overtime.
Oh, if Toronto, I should know, Toronto holding on just long enough to force us into overtime. And what does that do, Jamerson? It makes it so LG Evil have no chance to attack a second time, and Toronto only have to get a third of the way through on the first point to take a map here in this series.
Yeah, and they have 3 extra seconds. I mean, you start off with on the map with 4 minutes already, but now they're starting with 4 minutes and 3. So LG Evil really in the hot seat, but it's a nice sign of, breath of life coming out from the side of Toronto Esports here, so they will be able to have the opportunity to pick up their first map win in the series.
Yeah, and the next matchup, as you guys are seeing, will be Hammers Esports up against Cloud9, a rematch from TakeOver 2, where Hammers actually did take a couple of maps. I think they actually tied the series at 2-2 between them. The thing is, people always wonder, oh, Cloud9, they had to travel from the US over to Germany. They were jet lagged. They were playing 10 hours that day. All true. But I want to see if Hammers can actually still continue to take those maps against Cloud9, who Cloud9 have actually been struggling so far today.
Well, on the other side, though, Hammers were, of course, competing in Take, and they were also competing in our online qualifiers
That
for
is
NA.
true.
So
That
they
is
just
very
didn't
true.
stop playing Overwatch for about like 40 hours or something on like
So
that.
yeah, they played like the last day, and then they went upstairs into like the special room and played their qualifier matches with like 130 pings. So they got here today, but now we'll find out later if they can beat Cloud9 and maybe start to get some maps going in their favor. But currently it's LG Evil trying to stop Toronto Esports from taking their first map of the series. As Toronto are on the attack and only need that 1/3, that a third of a pie to take one on the board.
Thing is, they can't play that much of an aggressive defense on the side of LG Evil, which was what created Jaru's and Snow's vulnerability, right? We saw that they got jumped on initially, but it's going to be Vol this time that goes down first. His mech is gone, but with the Bunny Blaster, he'll be able to get that kill onto Cynic. It's going to be a 2-for-1 exchange. Vol finally going on down, but Rob 420 with that Storm coming back in. Point is still getting contested. Nope, really low. Snow,
Oh,
is it
no.
going to be able to get that shift? Oh no, he broke
It's not
line of
Snow's
sight.
fault. It's not. Yeah, it's not Snow's fault. It was Snow. He pushed in too deep, so Snow could not get back away here. And considering the kills, the way that works on attack, if you just get a kill or two, even if you do die, you have that respawn advantage to get back to the point in time to have the man advantage. So a little unfortunate for Toronto to actually lose that fight in the end when they had a couple of early kills, but they have now for them an EMP to worry about, a pulse bomb to worry about, a blade coming up soon. Still 4 minutes of time in total with 3 minutes now remaining. So OG will still have a lot of time to hold on to, but Toronto have every opportunity to close this map out.
Yeah, Train versus Onigod in that TVT, but Train's got the advantage of stim packs essentially over there. Now, the hack does come out. There's the EMP, and already 2 kills going over in favor of LG Evil, doing everything they can to hold on to this, to make this at least a draw. Now Super cleans up Note. That's going to force back Toronto Esports, but for the side of Toronto Esports, remember, like we had mentioned, they only need a third. And because they only need a third, they can just keep banking up ultimates and just go for one big 6 ultimate push.
So that's kind of why I want to see a Widowmaker, because we did see the way Rob opened up that first point and gave him a third before the fight really even began. But I'm not sure if Toronto really have that in their pockets, in their kit of potential heroes to play. But Jaro with the Faris, he's actually really done some decent damage. On the first attack, he did get the deuce onto Bull really early on. But Snow again being pressured on a sliver of HP. He's going to fall again!
That's both supports gone. Avast and Super picking up Letty and Snow. 3 kills already going over in favor of LG Evil, and Toronto Esports trying their best to make it out of here, but they're just chasing down D.Va. And she'll actually make it out, and honestly, I think that's a better play there. Just leave her in the pilot form and make it that much more difficult to get her mech back.
Yeah, so either you have to hit these shots, which she's actually not being given an opportunity to hit, or go back and change, but then you're going to lose yourself a struck ult %. So, really smart played by LG Evil. Minute 30 now to go. Remember, it's 4 minutes and 3 seconds, and there's only a minute 30 left, and they've made no progress on the point. They do have the res. Rob's going to have his EMP, though, to stop Snow from getting any sort of res. And not to mention, Snow's had such a tough time even surviving, but he's been able to get behind the enemy team. The safety he has here in this position, if he just stays healing and doesn't get pressured too heavily by Jake, it should be fine, and you do have that res potential.
Oh, Snow tried not to give away his position, but Jaro was brought down to 7 HP, so he had to just Guardian Angel up there. Now Note finds the kill onto Avast, and that might be the opening they were looking for, but Cynic falls on the side of Toronto Esports, so it's going to be a 5v5 fight. We'll see if a Temple Res comes out. A hack definitely does. Rob 420 landing onto the majority of members on the point there, but there it is. That's the resurrection. But now, Jake with the Dragon Blade, the barrage came out and got eaten up largely by that defense matrix, and Jake, just a one-track mind, made sure he got Jaru out of there, and that's going to be LG Evil cleaning this up, and unfortunately that resurrection not working, and now Toronto Esports. They had 4 minutes, now they're down to 30 seconds.
And Evil did that without even using a sound barrier, which they're going to have now for this last fight. Snow switched over to Zenyatta, realizing there's no point using the Mercy anymore when you don't have that res available. And Jake just showed what he really can do on Genji. He just, one-track mind, as I said, he really wanted that Pharah. He really wanted Jaru. I like how this hack, though, allows Train to be so much more aggressive in this TV2, as you said. He's able to constantly deny that positioning, get a lot of early chip damage in. Now Jake is very low on HP. He needs to survive this one, which is going to force the Sunbread of Avast, who hits all 6 targets.
Yeah, sound barrier pretty good. It actually kept Vol alive through that pulse bomb, and just like that, LG Evil putting up the defense of their lifetime here. Gonna make this a draw, it looks like, as they're getting cleaned up. EMP even coming out from Rob 420. to put the final nail in the coffin there. And somehow, LG Evil just holding on against Toronto Esports. And so, we're going to have, I believe, a 3-1 scoreline?
Yes. I believe
explain
so.
to us
No,
how
yeah,
that goes.
that should be it. Yeah. So they're each going to be awarded a map win, as there really are there's no precedence for map ties. That's not going to help in any way. You know, there's no tiebreaker.
I love
or
the
anything
draw.
like
It's
that,
like,
but
we're not going to show you any team. Yeah, well, I mean, either way, that was LG Evil at the end, really showing smart use of ults. Ult usage, I guess is the right word, Jason. Good job. Like we did coin them for on Nimbani, where on Nepal was a little bit more tricky. But Toronto, I mean, they tried the Far Mercy. They tried the Far Mercy. They tried. And Snow kept dying, and they couldn't get any damage. I think, no, I take that back. They got damage in. They just couldn't close out any kills. And that's because I think Jaru's playing the far up, but they also need the Genji to clean up things.
Yeah, and I actually thought that Onigod was doing a pretty good job on the ground on Tracer, but they still weren't able to get those kills. Finally, they were able to get that fight on their first attack, and then they were able to roll it into second, and we talk about kill potential. Well, Roadhog actually gives you quite a bit of that, and they really utilized Note on that second point.
Yep, I mean, that's exactly what you want to see, right? I wonder if we're going to have a lot more Roadhog come into play. But at the same time, I wonder if that Sombra was there in the beginning, like we did see, obviously, with side swapping, would the MP have been enough to stop that attack from being successful? It's kind of like a really slippery slope to play on the defense there when you lose that first point like that and you have to switch heroes and also not have ultimates up.
Yeah, one of the things I want to really point out is, once again, LG Evil, their target selection has been fantastic. We see on the onset of most of these fights, a support is going to go down. It was primarily Snow, but they were having such a difficult time just building up their ultimates. So even though that they had 4 minutes and 3 seconds right on their secondary push, it took a super long time for the Resurrection to come out. I believe the first res that Snow had,
came in with like a minute 30 left.
Yeah, around there. Yeah. And so that's the pressure that we're seeing coming out from the Winston on the side of LG Evil.
Yeah, well, let's talk about LG Evil a little bit as well with that offensive Sombra. I mean, that was just such a sloppy attack on their end, and I think that sloppy picks. I didn't even think that was a possibility. But what do you think about that attack, Sombra?
So I've always wanted to see it just to see how it can be played out. I think the way it worked is what we saw, where you have your team fighting constantly on that point long enough to get your hack on that mega under bridge. And once you have that staple position, because you're forcing the enemy Sombra to play defensive to make sure to defend the point, you eventually get that one built up. Maybe you can get a second there. And then it comes down to if you can maintain those, which prevents the EMP from being a factor, because you're not going to build up the EMP as quickly as you need to without those health packs hacked for your side. So I think the logic's there. The execution wasn't fully there this time, which was a little unfortunate, but you can definitely see that LG Evo are not afraid to try different things, right? To try something maybe a little bit new and to try something that can stop the flavor of the month Sombra defense Temple of Anubis.
Yeah, and they did at least get a draw out of it. I really do like their ability to bring Reaper on that second point. It's something that I've wanted to see a lot more. I know a lot of other people here on the desk have wanted to see it as well. Some of them are eating a delicious food in the back, I think. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Reaper on that second point?
I mean, you saw how excited we were to see Fraggy on Reinhardt yesterday, right? We just wanted anything different, and so getting to see a Reaper, it's something we have seen a lot of teams do in the past, right? Because a lot of teams, once again, aren't practiced to play against a Reaper or a Reinhardt. But at this point, it was very difficult for them to come in because I think they were doing a really great job on the side of Toronto Esports, once again, running that defensive Sombra. And unfortunately, even though he had one good Death Blossom, the fights were just way too long. They were able to get the respawns on the defensive end. And there were one team fight that, lasted 2 minutes and 30 seconds? It was a ridiculous amount of time. At some point, LG Evil just needed to, pull the plug on that attack and just regroup and go for another one.
So I agree and disagree at the same time with that, because the power of Reaper in that situation is, if you're hacked, it doesn't matter for you. If you're McCree, you need your flashbang, you need your roll to reset your ammo, right? If you're a soldier, you need to be able to run away, you need to be able to heal yourself. If you're Reaper, Wraith Form, you lost out on that. Your teleport, who cares? No one's really going to use it in the middle of a fight, right? Or you're not going to use it to get into a position because they're going to hear you. So Reaper's power comes from the fact that it doesn't matter if he gets hacked. He can do a hell of a lot of damage if you get close to him, and he has the potential to heal himself during the fight, which makes it so your supports can focus on your other damage dealers to keep them alive. But at the same time, I agree with you, Jamerson. We did see Toronto Esports respond well enough to his Reaper to prevent it from really doing too much.
Well, we've already seen some creativity coming out of LG Evil. We're going to see if they have anything else, as well as we're going to see if Toronto can actually pull out a map victory. They're getting credit for one based on that tie, but we're going to be going into Route 66 for map number 4.
So Route 66, we saw on Numbani there was basically a set play, right, on LG Evil's defense. They come in for the dive, you just back away and kite, and it's kind of a similar story here on the defense for LG Evil. A lot of teams, they can play on big Earls, and they have a lot of room behind them. They can do the retreat just like they could on Numbani. How do you think the LG Evil is going to approach this? Do you think they want to go for like the more divey, challenge the point at every turn, or play a little bit more passive?
I mean, they're up 3-1 right now, right? They actually technically haven't lost a map. I feel like they're going to be confident. In terms of like where they potentially want to hold, it depended on if they were going to have a diva. Vo was initially sitting on someone else. I actually didn't see who it was on the screen. But if he wasn't playing the diva, then you're running triple DPS and your whole game plan changes. But because you have a diva, you can play defensive or you could go aggressive with it. And I feel like there's maybe no reason to not be aggressive, but with Jake on Soldier in particular, it means you want to play a little bit more passive. You want to play the poke game with a Soldier and a Tracer than the heavy engaged comp that you'd want to go with a Genji.
Yeah, they've also got Rob 420 on Ana this time, so it's going to really enable Jake along with Super if they want to go for it. And Super's been doing a fantastic job all series long of focusing on support. So, I mean, if he gets a nano boost on that Winston, they're just going to melt that much quicker. Now, they're not contesting the point. The payload by LG Evil so far, they're going to let them turn this bend. And take a look at how far back that LG Evil are playing, Jason.
Yep, trying to play the poke game. We do have Jake at 22%, Node at 14. Not that much of a difference, to be honest, so not much to really write home about. But they're allowing them to get ground because they want to fight in a certain position. They want to use the Soldier's range to really ham this one home. And with Toronto using triple DPS, they're really squishy. But Jake's immediately going to be jumped on. Trains there to at least respond the kill into Snow. And Jaro, you can see again, he's trying to go for Jake. He's trying to find him, trying to find both supports. But just like the Numbani, he's not been unlocked yet by his team. Maybe they haven't paid for the DLC to unlock him, to allow him to get these kills.
All right, so...
Oh yeah, this is an EA game, never mind.
Well, I haven't played any other game other than Overwatch, honestly, in the last year or year and a half since like beta.
Long time.
It's been a really long time. Since October 2015, I believe. Yeah, and so now Toronto Esports coming in with that approach. They're just gonna look for their opening, and last time they thought they had it on Jake, right? Jumping onto him on the high ground there, but it just wasn't enough so far. Rob 420 has to be careful, though. He might get cut off here. There they go. They see him out. They just send in that Winston, but Cynic's already dropped down to have HP, and he's going to go ahead and pop that Primal Rage. Health bar starting to dwindle a little bit on the side of LG Evil, but here's the Tactical Visor coming out from Jake. He's got the kill onto Jaru. That's 2 going on over for LG Evil, and already Toronto Esports, they cut their losses. They get out of there.
All right, so let me just explain something to you here. If you're playing Jake as a Soldier, you have an Ana and you have a Lucio next to you on the high ground, your Biotic Field, your Biotic Grenade, and your AoE healing of Lucio. There's no way you're going to die unless you get one shot in that position, which I don't think Toronto even has the ability to do unless Jaru can maybe get a decent blade off with a dash reset or something. It's very hard to dismantle this position, so they have to either dive with multiple people, and if you're Cynic here jumping in, you can hit the Bio Grenade, you're dead.
Look at Train. He's been lurking there the entire time, just sitting, making sure that no one can see him, and he's going to be able to hunt down Snow. Super finds a kill onto Jaru, and once again, 2 kills going on over. It's Jaru and Snow once again on the kill feed first, but probably not in the way they really want it to be. They're going to force them back once again, 1 minute and 24 seconds, and once again, Train is on this lurk.
So Jaru used his blade, but he died in the midst of it, so he actually didn't lose full ult %, which is actually perfect for him, because if Cynic gets his Primal Rage up, and uses it and jumps it and dislodges them from the position, it allows Jaru to finally get that 1v1 against Jake or that 1v1 against Avasta Rob to pick up those kills and get that reset. So honestly, LG Evil or Toronto Esports are really lucky that Jaru's blade fully didn't come out before he did die, because now they have another opportunity to dismantle this defense that LG Evil are putting up.
Yeah, they might think that he doesn't actually have it, and that's a bit of a surprise factor, as we do have Toronto Esports. They're just going to go ahead and push in from lower cave here. 40 seconds left. Dragon Blade comes out from Jaro, and he finds the first frag onto Avast. Both supports down now. This might be what Toronto Esports were looking for, and even though it was LG Evil almost the entirety of this, the first 3.5 minutes here, it's Toronto Esports with a clean team white against LG Evil.
Yeah, you can tell they did not expect Jaro to have that blade. they would have been ready with a sound bird. They would have spread out a little bit more to make it harder for him to hit these dashes and to hit these blades onto multiple people. So really smart out of Toronto Esports. Well, really lucky, I'll say, actually, because he did die before his blade was fully out. But LG Evil maybe miscalculating some things there, and it allowed Toronto to finally take that first point with almost no time remaining. But they have a lot of ultimates now, LG Evil, which is why they're being really aggressive, because they know, well, we didn't really get to use any last fight since we died so quickly.
Yeah, you have to remember that kill cams are off in these matches here, so you can't tell what the ultimate charge is. You just have to guess where sound barriers coming out from both sides, as we do have that Winston just trying to bat LG Evil back. Jake sitting on that tactical visor. They have regrouped on the right-hand side here. All this time, though, the payload is slowly making its way forward. Onigod trying to regroup with his team. It's going to be Snow that gets the kill onto Super, and now they should be able to clean them up easily one by one. They're not focusing anyone down yet. There we go. Onigod gets the kill onto Rob 420. All this time, though, the payload is getting contested.
And Jaro has Blade yet again. He just used it in that last fight. And in the second fight, he's able to build it back up again. All goes down to him escaping. He's being focused on by Jake, who unfortunately doesn't hit enough shots. Well, let me be fair, there was a giant pillar of rock in front of him, so he couldn't do that. But he was able to survive, able to escape, get those resets, and now Toronto are looking in a really good position to take the second point with really not much pressure against them. Onigod's watching the cave. He's going to see one man come through. It's going to be Train. The tank's going to be watching the high ground towards the caves as well. So this kind of forces LG Evil to come out of one direction. Every direction is just going to be answered.
And yeah, we see teams holding that position over by cave, so that's why we see the lower left exit being used. We do have the nano boost coming on out. I think it might have gone on to Super, but here's the Dragon Blade coming out from Jaro. He's on the HUD, but a boss jumps right into that. And with 3 kills going over for LG Evil, it looks like Toronto Esports, they're going to keep this alive. And now they're just cleaning up. They're meters away from the second checkpoint. And, they're really just fighting back into this, scrapping this tooth and nail.
I know we're in Denver, and I know LG Evo are in Canada right now, but I swear I can hear Jake screaming, "Damn it, Avast!" Because he ran into that blade, which gave him the reset to pick up the kill. Watch, he comes right around the corner. Jake's in he's home free, but with him running into that blade, it allows the reset, it allows Jake to be actually tracked down on. Really unfortunate for him and the team, but still, they have 2 minutes left here for Toronto to go for the attack, and LG will have the opportunity to defend this one. They've got a visor, and they're switching Super over to the hero he's known for back in Hammer Esports. He's on the Reinhardt.
Oh, self-destruct. It was a little weird there. It looked like it got stopped, but it finally made its way on through. Pulse Bomb comes out. That's a 3-man for Onigod. And LG Evil, they're just going to have to back off and let this payload start getting pushed in. Take a look at the positioning coming out from TO.
Train's behind them, though, at least. They do have the potential to go for this flank. They're going to be, I mean, it's going to come down to note, maybe, if you can mitigate this one. You have Luda ready to go with the sound barrier, and LG going to be coming out the same direction yet again here. They have no support ultimates to stop this payload from pushing through. There's a minute 30 left to go here, Jamerson. And LG will need to finally stop this one, but the thing is, Super can't really push forward. He's getting focused on so easily.
Yeah, Cynic went down, though. Trained. He was on that lurk the entire time, was able to get the flank and get the kill onto him. But now they're just trying to funnel out of this right-hand side. But as they do, LG Evil picking up kill after kill now. Super and Train just the last ones alive so far to try and contest, but he does have that mech for now. He's eating up a lot of damage. He's finally going to get D-mech, though, and now Jaro, once again, with that blade, tactical visor coming out from Jake, though. Everyone was just inside that Winston bubble and just soaked up all the damage, and now Toronto Esports coming alive. Jaro shift, cleaning it all up, and they'll be able to finish it out with 51 seconds left.
So this goes to something we talked about on the desk, what, like a couple minutes ago, or actually after Nabani, was whether or not Toronto was underperforming or if LG were overperforming. And we hinted at the fact that Toronto have a lot of brilliance individually within their team, but Jaro hadn't had the opportunity to make plays happen. That's the problem, right? But Jaro finally got the freedom from this map after that first point to start making these plays happen. I feel like he got hyped up after that first double or triple kill on both supports he got on the first point, and he was just carrying his team on his shoulders. I mean, obviously, Onigod had a great pulse bomb there, but Jaro really came alive, and that's what we wanted to see out of this man. This is something that we've been hoping to see. And finally, you know, in the last map well, they actually can't tie things up anymore in the series, which is going to be really interesting when we go into tiebreakers. But they need to take this map, if not just for the series, but for map score in general.
Yeah, the best is 3-2 at this point. But I mean, already with how they initially pushed out on that first checkpoint, I mean, it looked lost, right? But we had mentioned they got that weird tempo timing with Jaru's Dragon Blade there that really caught off LG Evil. I feel like, you know, LG Evil, who do approach this pretty methodically, and we can see how smart they are when it comes to all these team fights, they weren't expecting it. And then from there, it looks like they were judging, questioning some of their judgments and their timings, and they looked really disjointed, especially through that second phase.
Yeah, we did see, like, I mean, after that, so after the point was taken from Toronto, right, Evil did have, I think, like 4 ultimates up, and they used them the order they wanted to. They got the engagement they wanted to, but Toronto was able to disengage enough to bait out a lot of those ultimates to then get the refight after. And I think that goes back to, like, Jaru escaping because he was able to get 2 or 3 kills with those resets in that fight. Jaru really channeling his inner weeaboo here on the Genji. But Evil, I mean...
What do you have against Weeds?
I'm just... You telling me you don't like, you love your Hanzo mains coming into your ranked games?
I very rarely run into Hanzo mains. They're
really?
few,
I thought
and I just kind of trust them at this point.
I thought in Bronze you would have a ton of them.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I know your GM. Don't worry. We played against each other before when I was here in the US.
We have. It was just that 1 week, right?
Yeah.
That you were in. So welcome back, but you're going to go back very shortly. Our time almost coming to an end.
I heard you say thank God, because I was going back soon. Meantime, though, LG have been able to push the payload up. In Toronto, we're going for an aggressive defense here, trying to contest the payload immediately. But again, Rob, the opener, the can opener, as it takes down Luda, does open up the initial kill they need to take this first point with no struggle.
Yeah, so he's not a bending unit, he's a can opening unit. Is that what you're telling me here?
He's not a bender bot.
Yeah, so another clean team fight coming out from LG Evil. Now Toronto Esports, they will have another opportunity to defend here, but they're gonna have to rush onto the payload. And I don't know if they're going to have a full 6 at this point. If they're waiting with Luddy in the back line with that Lucio just to try and speed boost everyone back here.
Yeah, they got them out. It's just getting out of the cave is going to be difficult. Train, he wants to go for Onigod, but he's actually trying to wait for anyone else to come in from the high ground position. He doesn't have his pulse bomb, but he's directly behind the soldier on Note, who's trying to sit on top of Big Earls. Jake again, able to escape. He has a back on Volo there to help him out here, and Cynic's going to fall. Rob again, getting the kill.
Yeah, Rob 420, just making it look so easy. Now, Onigod, he's got that pulse bomb. It connects, but looks like he was able to stay alive. Cynic is respawning at this point, but it's Jake pushing forward with that tactical visor. Pulse bomb came on out. That's another easy team fight for LG Evil.
I think easy is probably the best word to actually describe how this has been going so far. Yeah, they would lose 1 or 2 people, but from the get-go, Rob opening things up with the initial kills has really allowed them to maintain this progress. Vol just killing himself because he wants to get the reset, he wants to get his mech back, and obviously if you go back and swap off D.Va and then back to D.Va, you lose your self-destruct, which he does have up. So smart play by him to do that, but it also allows Toronto to get a little bit more aggressive here. It actually allows them to get out of spawn where maybe LG Evil wanted to hold them.
Oh, Cynic a little bit caught out though. He's at half HP. He's starting to fall back. He's got the Orb of Harmony on him, but here is the self-destruct coming out from the side of LG Evil. It doesn't connect onto anyone, but Snow will with this Orbs of Chaos. They're taking out Cynic. I don't think that's the actual name of it. Orb of Destruction. But a boss, there we go, comes in. Now it's a very disjointed fight coming out as the Transcendence was popped on the side of LG Evil.
For some reason I thought of Yu-Gi-Oh again there. Chaos Dragon or whatever it's called. But no, Jari gets the kill on a Volt with the D-Suit coming through. Onigod's able to help, stymie these kills and stymie the progress that LG Evil's been able to maintain. Train, yeah, you're gonna get 1 kill here, but I don't see you getting much more than this, as he will fall eventually to Note. And Evil finally being held up, but they still have 3 minutes and 40 seconds of time, so it's not like they're gonna really care too much that they lost that fight finally in the second phase, but they did commit quite a few ultimates to it.
And I really exposed my edgelord side there, didn't I? At the end, the Orbs of Chaos. But yeah,
I don't know what game that's from, but
I don't know either. But it just sounds pretty edgy. Now,
it does.
We do have that sound barrier on the side of Toronto Esports, and now Snow, not to be outdone by Rob, he's gonna find a frag onto Jake, and that's one of the DPSs down. So immediately, LG Evil pull the plug. They back on out.
I think Jake got hit with a Helix Rocket at the same time that those orbs came through, or maybe
a lot of burst.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. And now Toronto finally looking good here. 3 minutes of time left for LG Evil to get to this 3rd checkpoint. And they weren't able to build up really any ultimates because once Jake died, they immediately backed away. They actually didn't get any healing in, they didn't get any damage in, so they are in the exact same position that we saw before.
Yeah, they tried to split up their forces. So coming on out, pulse bomb. Oh, sound barrier came on out, but I don't think that pulse bomb connected from Train there. Jake finds that frag onto Onigod. 6v5. Cynic dropping low though. He has the primal rage. He stays alive, and now he's on the hunt for Jake. He's gonna go in there. You don't want to be close quarters up against 3 of them, but with the Orb of Discord, he is actually getting pelted by the majority of LG Evil. Jaro found 1 kill onto Train, but now they are back on the payload. It is being contested for now by Luddy.
Considering he stalled 3 people, I really expected Toronto to pick up more kills than that. Like with him holding off, I think it was Jake, Avast, and Rob. It's like, all right, well, they don't have supports, they don't have a soldier. Can you guys kill someone? And the answer was no. And Toronto, unfortunately, going to lose the second checkpoint, at least lose a lot more progress on it. Where's the +3? It's only Avast actually pushed up. I think they realized we're going to have a second fight anyway, so we're not going to be able to cap it. Might as well get people set up in a good position. And I think they've actually been able to do that. You can see Vol watching one side, Super watching the other, Jake watching all 3 exits at once.
Yeah, I love this positioning for soldiers. Now they have to be careful. They're jumping immediately on top of him, and he goes down just like that. They just pull the trigger on the side of LG Evil. But it's a 1-for-1 exchange. Note, he's got that tactical visor, but the Diva's right in his face. Transcendence, though, will keep him healthy. And so he's going to be able to just run away for now as the self-destruct comes on out. Volk connects onto Snow. He goes down, but Jaro is trying his best to keep this alive. Jake will finally clean him up, and with the help of Train, Onigod goes down. And so they will be able to secure that second checkpoint as we move into the storage cave here.
I'm really curious how they lost that fight considering Jake died immediately. Maybe it's because they used too much to go up to that high ground position, so Cynic wasn't able to, get the jump somewhere else. And obviously LG Evil were set up in so many great spots to stop this one. We're seeing quite a few switches though out of LG Evil. We're seeing Train on the Roadhog, Super on the Reinhardt, and Vol on the Diva. So triple tank setup.
Yeah,
that's what LG Evil was known for back in the day.
We've got the swap coming up from Toronto Esports too. Cynic going on over to the Reinhardt. Oh, Jaro this time holds on to it.
Blade didn't come out.
It did not.
It did not come out again, even though it almost seemed like it. So that should be a plus for Toronto, actually. To know that they actually were able to maintain that ultimate. I'm wondering if LG are expecting it this time. Because I don't know how Train saw it, but from the way we saw it, I thought the Blade was out, but it turns out it wasn't.
All I heard was Yuji no Ke, and then he went down.
Do you know the full line?
So it is not.
Do you know the full line?
Yuji no Ke Oken.
Weeaboo. Or weeb, sorry.
All right, I walked right into that one. I mean, I guess I deserved it. Train, though, Sleep Dart landed onto Jaru. Everything just going wrong for him so far as Train, since he swapped off on this Roadhog. It's paid off so far for LG Evil. Earthshatter from Cynic. It looked like it was a panicked one because it went right into his shield. Now, Jake with the Helix Rocket kill onto Snow might create an opening for LG Evil.
Super's getting close to his Earthshatter too, and luckily Cynic's been able to mimic him in terms of the Reinhardt v Reinhardt battle. Super able to pick himself up a double. But this is a team who used to just ride on the back of Super, actually. They would just nano boost him. They would, for the sake of using another turn, they would unlock him and just allow him to push straight to enemy team and just swing away for days. But remember, there's still like I don't actually remember if the bug is still in it for Reinhardt, where he seems a little bit slower than he did previously. And Blizzard's already addressed this one and are looking into changing it. I think it's next patch, if I'm not mistaken. But they're still going to power him up here. They're going to look for him to come in and just destroy people.
Jaru. Oh, he swapped off onto the Hog himself, was able to get a kill onto Rob 420, but that's a 3-for-2 exchange for LG Evil. The thing is, they can still try and stall this out for as long as possible, letting it on there by himself. Well, actually, he has the help of Note, but if you're trying to stay on the payload with the Reinhardt right there, you're not going to be long for the world. As Super gets a nice charge, and it's going to be a counter charge coming on out, but oh, I thought they didn't get on the payload there, but we do have Onigod. He's dropping real low, is able to recall back, but he's getting swung on Titan, Train and Jay coming on in. They're going to be able to clean that up, and that is going to be some time added on to both sides. So Toronto Esports, for their next attack, they're going to have 1:19, while LG Evil will have a full minute.
I thought you were calling Super Titan there. And I was going to agree with you because that man just, I'm pretty sure his right click was broken towards the end. He was just swinging the entire time, swinging for the fences. He's able to build up another ultimate actually while he ulted in the fight during, or the same fight. So really well done by him to just constantly hammer away. But now Evil going to be on the attack. They had a very flawless first point tank. On the other hand, Toronto struggled. They struggled. And that kind of worries me. Is Toronto able to fix where they went wrong?
Yeah, I believe it was about 30 seconds left on the clock for Toronto Esports to finish out this map, and every single team fight LG Evil was were winning on their defense. It was absolutely clean. They maybe lost like 2 members, 3 members over the course of 4 fights, 3 fights, something along those lines. So Toronto Esports now on the defensive side here, they have the window of opportunity to get this victory, make this a 3-2 scoreline, and they're going for a triple tank setup.
All right, so will they hold aggressive? I would want to imagine so, or at least hold at that S-bend to prevent them from getting too much distance, because they're gonna be very hard to dislodge. You can see Avast gonna be sitting on Hanzo just to check if there's any shenanigans going on here. And as we can see, there is absolutely not.
Yeah, so
he's going to be switching.
Swap right off onto that Lucio there. So the payload starting to make its progress, and LG Evil getting a little bit worried here. They haven't shown their faces yet, and they haven't spotted out the triple tank quite yet. Jake are immediately backing off. Is he going for the high ground, or is he going to swap?
I imagine he's going for high ground here. I mean, he sees the Roadhog, and he knows he's not going to be on this position, so it allows him to actually take this one, especially with Rob there to back him up. So now they get to attack from 2 different positions, because the way the Toronto are holding it is they're trying to prevent this choke from going. But if you're going to attack from above and from the front...
Whoa.
Oh, did the hook land?
Hook landed, but I think Train was able to break the LOS there, and so it broke. And so Train just counting his lucky stars. Oh my gosh! How are you surviving this? Train 1-for-1 exchange, make that a 2-for-2. But at this point, it does really favor the offense, as the payload didn't make that much distance. And so they will be able to get the respawners on here, as we do have Jake pushing up forward. They're trying to contest as much as they can on the side of Toronto Esports. Now we are in overtime.
Jake almost has his visor. Audigot actually able to get a decent amount of charge at 67% on that Graviton Surge, but Jaro's nowhere near close to Jake in terms of ults. This visor is clearly going to come up a lot easier, a lot quicker for Evil, and he's already set up in a spot to stop Toronto from contesting the payload. It's come down to Cynic, who has to hold his shield up the entire time, which allows Super to get some decent damage in. It allows Rob to maybe look for another chance to go for a Discord. This is going to be so tough for Toronto to prevent from actually finishing off.
Yeah, they've got the tactical visor, but remember this time, Toronto, oh no! The bait and switch, no, forces Jake to back off, and that allows him to get the hook onto Rob 420 instead. And now he's going in this 1v1 that he actually wins with the help of Train, so to make that a 2v1, but here's the tactical visor coming on out, but now LG Evil are getting cleaned up. There's the Graviton Surge coming out, and they should be able to just finish this off. I think it's just Train there to contest, and with him going down, LG Evil will be stopped, but I think that's a pretty good distance for 1 minute.
It is definitely good distance. It could have been a lot scarier, though. Note the pressure he applied coming up that high ground, immediately shoving Jake off the position and hitting the hook onto Rob to stop any Transcendence from coming into that fight was so instrumental in Toronto holding that first point.
Yeah, basically, he drew the attention of 3 members of LG Evil onto him at that point. And that is a lot of pressure alleviated from the 5 other members of Toronto Esports, just to force the other 3 off that payload. So now Toronto Esports, it's going to be their second opportunity to attack. They've got 1 minute and 19 seconds. LG Evil, though, they made a really great push. They got it just before that checkpoint, and we see a lot of teams actually just struggle once we get to that S-bend just right in front of Big Earls here.
Hello. Well, LG Evil aren't really running like a comp to contest right away. They're not running like a double or triple tank. They're still running the standard comp they ran on the first time defense, but you know, who am I to judge when they almost held Toronto the entire time on the first point? So can't really say too much about that. Onigot's gonna be on Widowmaker though. I wonder if he's looking for an early pick. Actually, I wonder if we can go to him, because I want to see where he's going to be coming out of. Is it the main door or is it the side door? Because if he's going out the main door, he should be able to see that Jake's there. But I imagine that Super's going to give him a shield to stop any shot of actually landing.
So yeah, he's going to come out from the side door on the right-hand side this time. We'll see if this grapple shot connects. No, instead he's just going to play LOS. Here we go. Goes for the grapple, but LG Evil just sends something. They all immediately fall back.
How long does he plan to stick to it, right? And I imagine he's going to be changing a Tracer momentarily here just to get back into the fight, because you're not going to lose too much time. But he's still on it. So, all right, maybe they're looking for that kill. Maybe, I mean, we talked about Jake, right? When he gets set up, when he has an Ana and he has a Lucio there, and even Vol to come in, it's really hard to kill him unless you can one-shot him. But he will be switching to Tracer. So now a lot of pressure going to be on Jaru's shoulders and Cynic as well to not jump into that same trap that they had before.
Yeah, they've got to be careful. Last time they kept trying to take out Jake first. He's brought down, but he was very low. He had all the heals there with him, Avas and Rob 420 just keeping him alive. And so they're just, you know, giving away some ground right now, waiting for Toronto Esports to put themselves in a vulnerable position just like that. The Bio Nade lands onto Cynic. Jake cleans that up.
People forget how Bio Grenade works and how effective it can be. The payload is still moving, though. They need to contest it because the distance is getting ever so close. No takes on Super. Toronto Esports, if they can just keep picking up a couple of kills, they might have everything they need to close out this map. And Jake is still alive. So is Train. And Train is looking for these kills with supports. He's looking for the DM. He's looking for anyone just on a sliver of HP, and he's going to find Jaru.
Yeah, but no D-meching Vol. Their Train doing his best to keep this alive. It looked like No just walked right on into that now. What the 1v1? His crosshair did not leave his head, but he didn't get the headshot kill there. And now Train might have just done it for the side of LG Evil, keeping this alive.
Payload! Don't pull the Cloud9 here, LG Evil. They're going to be able to get back on top, and Cynic still contests this one. Jake picks himself up a double kill. He has a nano visor, and there's no D.Va to stop him here. No, he's not respawned back in with this team, but they're still somehow alive. They're still throwing every body they have at this.
That was so close. LG Evil almost got off the point, got off the payload. In the immortal words of Hex, get on the thing, get on the thing, and they did.
All I heard, though, during that last like 30 seconds was choo-choo, as Train just absolutely smashed them with a double kill in the post-bomb, at least the D-suit in the kill, then the direct kill 1v1 against Tracer. Like that was ridiculous. That was clutch.
That really was. I mean, what more can you say? We saw it all, and we caught every bit of that last action there, and Train just coming up huge for them. I mean, Jaru, he had his Dragon Blade, right? He was able to get the kill onto Jake, but it was Train that put a stop to that. Dragon Blade didn't allow him to get anything else
It
off
allowed
of
the
that.
Nano Visor to come through too, which was so crucial, so important.
What more to say? Train coming through in the end. And we talked about like having multiple threats, and he put on his carry pants there at the end and absolutely